Welcome again to the Access to Tuolumne Studios in Sonora, California for another NorCal Sports TV weekly recap show. I'm Dion I. I'm here with my partner Levi Flores, and we're going to preview this week's broadcast on NorCal Sports TV. Before we do that, we're going to recap last week's broadcast, and we got a chance to see some home cooking from the Columbia College Claim Jumpers as they came to the Oak Pavilion for the first time this year. 7 of their new players got a chance to grace the Oak Pavilion for the first time, and it was pretty exciting, wouldn't you say, Levi?
Yeah, and the day before, the Marin Mariners also played on the Columbia College court so that they wouldn't have an advantage over Columbia without them playing, but they did an exceptionally well job against Columbia. So Marin versus Columbia. Columbia not off to a great start in the first half, only scoring 34 points, but let's see the highlight reel.
Yeah, Columbia comes in undefeated, Marin 1-1. And as you can see there, Marin starts off pretty fast, but the Jumpers throwing it down.
Yeah, Caleb Carter, 10 points, 7 blocks, 9 rebounds. Great player. He almost had the triple-double if he had a few more blocks and another rebound.
Oh, he was a force on both ends. But Marin's guard play was exceptional. You saw there Franco Bearfield with a nice jump shot. But Grayson Carper.
Yeah, Grayson Carper, what a player. He was averaging 27.5 points before this game, ended with 14, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists.
And Malik Guyton, he had 14 points on the night, was their leading scorer. You see him going to work there, and Julian Bryant, as Marin made a nice run there in the first half to tie it up and take the lead.
And Julian Bryant was off the bench with 12 points and 5 rebounds.
And that's Seth Coddington. That's his go-to play, 24 points and 13 boards on the night for the sophomore.
And his family traveled out from Florida to watch him play all the way on the West Coast.
Oh, that's amazing. And you mentioned to me earlier that the Jumpers came in as the 5th hottest three-point shooting team in the state. They struggled a little bit, but there's Spivey finally knocking one down.
Yeah, they were averaging 12 made three-pointers before that game.
Well, they weren't shooting that well this weekend, but they got things done when they needed to. And speaking of three-pointers, there's Keith Shakes right there knocking one down.
And notice the score, Columbia up 41-36. Columbia was averaging 92 points per game before going into Marin.
Just here, Caleb Carter showing his defense's prowess there with a nice block shot when they needed it, and then Grayson Carper making a huge 3 to get the Jumpers up there by 7. And that was a big play right there, heads-up play. Grayson Carper tips out the block shot, and Seth Coddington hustles to get the easy bucket. Probably one of my favorite plays on the night. Again, Grayson Carper there to Caleb Carter, who slams it home. And the Jumpers come away victorious. And I believe Levi, of course, after this play, we're going to get a chance to see the player of the game. But you know, you had to make something happen before the shot clock goes out and the Jumpers slam it home. But I know you were there for our player of the game, Seth Coddington.
The player of the game. Coming from Florida, what made you travel to the West Coast to play for Columbia?
Coach really, he was honest with me, and he stayed true to his word. He just told me if I just work hard, he'll take care of the rest. And I believed in him, and that made me come out here.
And what's the difference between playing high school and college basketball?
The speed, mostly, and just staying focused, because the JUCO is very different. It's very different than like Division I, Division II. So you just got to stay focused and keep playing.
Good playing tonight. Good luck tomorrow as you face Diablo Valley.
Well, speaking of three-pointers, you mentioned the Jumpers came in averaging 12 three-pointers a game. I know it's a short sample size, only 2 games coming in, but they finished the game 6 of 19. But it was the battle of the boards, I believe, that got them the win. They out-rebounded Marin 45-27.
And that's about their numbers on rebounds. They're a great rebounding team, a great assist team as well.
Well, next up, we'll go from basketball to football. We had MJC traveling to Sac City. MJC came in the game 6-2. Sac City was 2-6, but the Pirates had to go on the road and face Sac City to see if they can regain momentum as they lost to Fresno City in the week prior.
So next up, switching gears, the Modesto Junior College Pirates versus the Sac City Panthers. Starting off is the Pirates, as Danny Velasquez, a 6-yard touchdown run onto the right side, make the extra point attempt to make it 7-0. The Pirates striking first. Opposite end of the field, a 10-yard running touchdown by Peyton Bass. 14-0. Again, the Pirates from the 25-yard line throws it deep down the field to Jordan Porter, number 10, 70-yard touchdown pass.
Well, Velasquez getting it done on the ground and in the air.
Then inside the 5, the Pirates once again, Peyton Bass up the center.
Well, they were feeding the bass last Saturday.
28-0. Sac City going for the field goal. 23-yard attempt. Sox Lee makes it. The Panthers once again at the 14-yard line. Going to do a 19-yard pass into the left side of the end zone, and it's caught to make it 28-10. And the Pirates get the ball back, regaining possession inside the red zone. 8-yard touchdown pass. Rory Hansen. It's a great final score, 35-10. Modesto Junior College Pirates versus the Sac City Panthers.
You know, they needed that win to get their momentum back. It was definitely an upsetting showing when Fresno City came to town, and they needed that win as they're hoping for a playoff or at least a nice bowl game to end the season.
And it looks like they let their defense down a little bit there early in the second half, as Sac City did score 10 points.
Well, you know, when you go up 28-0, you know, you probably might be looking to play some of your reserves there to keep guys fresh and avoid any injuries, as they do have aspirations to go deep in the playoffs, or like I said, depending on how things shake out, have a nice solid bowl game to end the year. And we'll go right back to basketball, as the Jumpers had 2 games last weekend at the Oak Pavilion, and this one was a thriller. Diablo Valley College came in. They hadn't played a game yet prior to the weekend, and they had a win against Lemoore on the previous night, so they were undefeated 1-0, playing the Jumpers, who were 3-0 at the time. And Columbia didn't start off looking too good, did they?
No, they didn't. Diablo Valley had a 20-point lead, and even though Columbia came into the game averaging 90 points, they didn't reach that point.
Well, I remember you keeping statistics. You were calling the game, and do you remember how many turnovers the Jumpers had? I remember in the first half, you said they had 19 turnovers in the first half. So will the Jumpers be able to recover from that? I don't know, Levi. Let's take a look.
Columbia versus Diablo Valley.
And Grayson Carper, again, who just had a great game the night before. I remember that nice move, crossover down the lane for the layup. But Diablo Valley, they were solid there in the first half. That's number 24, Isaiah Hood. He had 16 points. I remember he got in foul trouble in the second half, but as you can see here, he was filling it up in the first.
Yeah, he was on fire. Not only the 16 points, but 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and even 2 blocks.
And that's one of his assists right there to Mitchell Smith, who had 5 3-pointers on the night.
They're a great 3-point team.
And Caleb Carter, another game, had 4 blocks. Oh, wait, I think he had more blocks. He had 7 blocks on this night, did he not? 4 blocks. He had 11 blocks on the weekend. So Caleb Carter is definitely a force, but you can't block 3-pointers, and that's another one by Mitchell Smith, as DVC goes up big in the first half.
In the same spot, off the mark for Smith.
And Columbia did make a little run there. Spivey finally was able to find the bottom of the net.
Yeah, the 3-pointers weren't that good for Columbia.
Well, Spivey was 3 for 14 on this game, and that gentleman right there, Mitchell Smith, was 5 for 12. He was filling it up. So DVC, there's their 20-point lead you mentioned with 15:46 to go. Looked like things were going to get away, and Spivey finally finds the bottom of the net again there, and that's where that run came in. It was a 15-0 run in just a matter of minutes, was it not?
Yeah, 15-0 run. If you look at the score, Columbia's slowly regaining possession here.
Fast
regaining
breaks.
the points.
Love the way they play. They can get out in open court. You got Grayson Carper, Spivey, dunking it, as you can see here again. 15-0 run, multiple dunks, and the team came together. And of course, at the 12-minute mark, they pulled within 3.
Seth Coddington with some defense. It's throwing down the court for a nice 3-pointer.
That's Diego Paredes with 12 points on the night. That's one of his 4 threes. He was 4 for 5 from behind the arc. But here's Grayson Carper at the end there. Tough shot, ties it up to force overtime, and the Jumpers come back from behind 20 to force overtime here.
Spivey,
his even though he was 3 for 14, all 3 of his threes were huge to end the half, to start overtime, and to start that 20-point run. And here's Caleb Carter kind of sealing the deal with his defense with another block. And the Jumpers pull away and get a 6-point win after it was probably, like Coach Hoyt said, the ugliest 25 minutes in his career as a coach. And we have our player of the game, Grayson Carper.
I'm Levi Flores on the court for NorCal Sports TV. Our player of the game is Grayson Carper. He got 19 points, 9 rebounds. Grayson, what a game. What led your team to the 15-0 run in the second half?
Well, going back in the half, being able to correct what we did wrong in the first half, getting back in the locker room and really being able to fix it. And everyone buys in, so that's it.
And you hit a three-pointer near the end of the game to tie it up. How did that feel?
Man, it's an unbelievable feeling. Just knowing, the shot clock's running down and they want the ball in my hands, that's an unbelievable feeling.
And this team really means a lot to you. What are some key players for you?
Landis Spivey, straight shooter. I'm not even going to get into individual. Everyone that buys in is part of the team. That's it.
And what were some of the problems that you had in the first half that you guys corrected in the second?
We were lazy, getting back cut, that kind of thing. Not running the floor, a lot of turnovers. Really easy stuff to correct, and we obviously corrected it and came out on top. So.
And you had 19 turnovers in the first half. How did you personally feel about that?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know. Just gotta correct them, I guess.
Grayson Carper, the player of the game, although Seth Coddington with another huge night, 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 18 free throws. But that was it for the Columbia versus Diablo Valley, 78-72 in overtime. We'll be right back right after this.
The public transit system has really supported my education. That's one thing that the Tuolumne County Transit System provides is a sense of community.
So I needed to find a job, and people told me about Motherlode job training. They helped me with my resume. I got to see where openings were, and I found a great job at Black Oak Casino.
Ever since I started coming here to Sonora, the Sonora transit system has been a big help in me getting to my appointments. If it wasn't for the transit system, I wouldn't be able to get around very easily.
And welcome back to the NorCal Sports TV Weekly Recap Show. We have 3 games on the docket for this weekend, starting on Monday with high school playoff football. Due to streaming regulations, we are streaming on the NFHS network, produced by NorCal Sports TV. Monta Vista, the Mustangs again, will face their crosstown rival, the San Ramon Valley Wolves, for the second time this year, and second time in the last 2 years that they've had to face them in the first round of the playoffs. They just got done playing 2 weeks ago in the final game of the season. Double overtime. San Ramon Valley wins 17-16. But the Monta Vista Mustangs get a chance to get redemption as they'll play this Friday back at San Ramon Valley.
Both teams are 7-3. Great record for high school teams. Division I football, a lot higher level. Quarterfinals, which is a pretty big thing for the high school teams. Monta Vista, 200 receiving yards, while San Ramon only has 147 per game. It's a pretty big difference in receiving yards because one 50-yard play could really make the difference. And rushing per game, Monta Vista 97, while San Ramon has 112, so that's a little lopsided as well.
Well, in a very evenly matched game, the way football goes, special teams, any big play can make a world of a difference. We've seen that with Monta Vista this year. They've had punt returns going almost 100 yards for touchdowns and things like that. So it'll be an exciting game. And for those that are in the Contra Costa County area, it will be simulcast live on EdTV. And for those outside of the area, it will be on the NFHS network. The link will be on the NorCalSportsTV.com website. So you guys can go ahead and enjoy that game, and it'll be on our YouTube channel 72 hours later. But, of course, it's playoffs. You want to see what's going live, and that's how you can watch that game. So we're excited about that. And then Saturday we have 2 junior college football games, 2 great games. The first one, Chabot versus Laney. So we have Hayward versus Oakland. The Gladiators come in 4-4. They've actually lost their last 2 games. And Laney comes in and has won their last 2 games, and they're coming in at 5-4 with a 3-1 league record. But this one looks pretty evenly balanced. When you don't look at the records, but you're looking at the numbers, what the teams are doing and what they're producing, it looks like a pretty evenly matched game, don't you think?
Right. Chabot, 23 points per game. Laney, 25 points per game, which is pretty evenly matched. And Chabot's yards per game, 370, which is a decent amount for college football. And then Laney as well, 315 yards per game, a little less, but again, those big plays could make a difference.
Yeah, they both are almost identical when it comes to their average rushing yards per game. I saw it was 177. Chabot gets about 60 more yards per game in the air. So we'll get a chance to see. You can watch that live 6 p.m. on NorCal Sports TV, but also at 6 p.m. you have 2 TVs. You can watch 2 games at the same time. San Joaquin Delta visits the Modesto Junior College Pirates, and this one will wrap up the season as MJC. They're, as you saw earlier, they won their last game at Sac City, so they got a 1-game winning streak coming into this game. They're 7-2 in league. They're looking for at least a playoff berth based on their resume this year. They've had some incredible wins. They have played a very tough schedule, probably one of the toughest in the state. So if they can get this win and finish the season 8-2, they have a fighting chance to make the playoffs. They'll definitely have a bowl match, and San Joaquin Delta comes in. They've actually won 2 in a row as well, but their record's 4-5, 2-2 in league. So they're looking to see if they can have an argument to get in any kind of bowl game action. But MJC, just a lot of firepower, averaging 36 points per game to Delta's 24. So can Delta keep Danny Velasquez and company, from just running up the scoreboard? We've seen that many times this year. And, as far as passing and rushing, MJC is averaging almost 70 yards more per game in the air, and they're averaging almost 70 yards more per game on the ground. So, my guess is if MJC, barring any crazy play or, big special teams coming out there and fumble recoveries, interceptions, and things like that, it looks like MJC has a chance to go 8-2 on the year, and hopefully we'll get a chance to have them in the state playoffs, because we love our MJC Pirates and love covering them.
Right, and Delta, even though they do have a 2-win streak, they don't have the winning record quite yet, 4-5, so it seems pretty lopsided with the Pirates going to take the lead.
Yeah, MJC, this is one of the best teams they've had in a long time. They started the year great, and they are definitely arguably one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the state. So, again, both games, Chabot versus Laney, 6 p.m. on NorCalSportsTV.com or just on our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/NorCalSportsTV. That's where you can watch both games. MJC and Delta, Chabot Laney, 6 p.m. And don't forget Friday night, Monte Vista versus San Ramon Valley on the NFHS Network or EdTV in Contra Costa County. So that's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget about those 3 games, and we'll be back here next week on the NorCal Sports TV Weekly Recap Show.